Benita, thank you for joining us. We're going to spend a little time on an issue many people have, and that is, I think you call it compulsive overeating. I use the phrase typically emotional overeating, but we're talking about the same thing. I got that right, do I not? Okay. So how does that manifest in your life? What happens in your world? I mean, tell us about the degree of emotional overeating that you experience.
Well, I think of food almost all day. I really eat all day. I graze all day. I eat at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but then I don't know what makes me do this, but I start to get maybe stressed. I don't know, really. I can't really feel it, but I start, looking around for something to eat to fill me up, to make me feel better. It makes me happy to eat.
Yeah, of course. And to put other words around that, it's sort of like between meals, you may not really be hungry, so to speak, but it's sort of, there's some anxiety going on, some unrest, this kind of thing. And if you raid the refrigerator, fill your stomach, it tends to tranquilize it, at least for now. Like so many people, we use food to tranquilize underlying emotional stuff, some anxiety. We may not even be able to identify it, point our fingers. This is exactly why I feel anxious at the moment. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Now, you and I have had previous phone conversations here, and if I understand this correctly, you've actually identified some emotional issues that may be behind it, some childhood issues. Can you give me some sense of what that might be?
You mean the reasons why I overeat would be, well, I did have a traumatic childhood, I would call it. Both my parents were very abusive. And so when I'm sad or, I feel lonely or bored, all these reasons, I go to eat.
I understand it. When you are eating between meals, raiding the refrigerator, if you will, you're not really putting together, oh, gee, when I was 12 years old, my father did so-and-so, or my mother said something else. You don't put it together one on one like that. It's the general idea of what a child would get who's been at the wrong end of abuse. That is, I'm not lovable, maybe. I don't fit in. There's something wrong with me, and so on. And so it's that general sense of unrest that makes us so uncomfortable. We want to use some kind of drug, food in this case, to tranquilize it, make us feel better for now. The consequence of that is the health may not be so good, and we put on weight. So what we want to do, I mean, the EFT approach to this is to get down to those specific events, the actual cause of this sense of unrest, and collapse them so that each event is no longer bothersome to you. It's like if the overall event was, or the overall issue was called, let's just call it, I'm not lovable, or I don't fit in, or something like that. Something's wrong with me. Let's just call it something's wrong with me for a generalized thing. You couldn't feel that sense unless there was causes for that. And those causes would be the specific events in your life where you would have rise to that. It wouldn't be like, the specific event wouldn't be, oh, my father used to abuse me. That's too broad. It would be more like the time my father, I'm making this up, locked me in the closet when I was 12 for 3 hours. Okay, that would be a specific event. Okay. We want to get to those. We want to collapse those. Okay. And the more we collapse, the less anxiety you have, the less cause you have for the general anxiety. Okay? If we collapse just one of them, well, chances are you've got others, so we've only collapsed one, so you'll still have it. If we collapse two, now you've got less. if we collapse 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, even though you may have hundreds of these issues, of these events, would I be right? You would have hundreds of them? Okay. Once we collapse 5 or 6 or maybe 10, something like that, there's enough commonality among those various events that they generalize over everything else. And now we've got a far, far, far better level of peace on these events. Okay? So that's where we're headed. So let's start with, well, I know you've worked on some of these yourself. Okay? So what I'm going to ask you to do is to, take an inventory, go back in time to a specific event, mother, father, or wherever, preferably during childhood, preferably, foundational type stuff. Just find one that still, when you think about it, you get a little, worked up about it, a little sad, whatever. Do you have that
one? Yes, with my father once. I was in the car with him and my sister, and my sister did warned me before that if I said I wanted to sit on the front seat, then she was going to tell my dad that I broke his umbrella because I was in the back seat and I was pushing with the umbrella on the front seat, and it bent the umbrella. So she said she was going to tell on me, and so, but silly me, said I want to sit at the front. It was my turn, and so she told my dad. And he told me that he yelled and screamed at me, and he told me that when we got home, he was going to break my baby doll bed and high chair that I had, and he was going to break it and see how I liked it. So,
okay. As you tell that story right now on a scale of 0 to 10, what kind of emotional level do you get to?
Pretty high, actually. Probably maybe a 9.
Okay. See, but you said it fairly calmly. You said it like it was a walk around the block. Okay. So I guess you're used to that by now?
Yeah, I hide a lot of things.
Okay.
I'm pretty good at that, so.
Okay. So for those people out there that are maybe in the healing professions, just because the client can talk about something with some ease doesn't mean they're over it. So you got to a 9. How did you know it was a 9? Was there a physical sign, a heart pounding?
Yeah, it wasn't while I was talking about it so much as after I said it. And then all of a sudden I just got this, kind of brought me back to when I was a child. I was pretty little, 6 years old maybe.
Yes.
And
yes.
Just the feeling, that terrified feeling that he was going to break something that meant a lot to me.
Okay. So that was a threat to you. But what I asked you earlier about was there a physical sign? Was there constriction in your throat, or your heart was pounding, or something like that?
Okay, I felt kind of sick in my stomach.
You felt kind of sick in your stomach. Okay. On a scale of 0 to 10, what number of sickness in your stomach did you get to? Can you recall?
Yeah, probably about a 7 or so.
About a 7. And when you call it a sickness, is there another way you can? I mean, you don't have to, but is there another way you could talk about, like a gurgling or a constriction or something like that?
Oh, just like before, you're going to throw up.
Yeah.
The nauseous feeling.
Okay.
Just all of a sudden.
Okay. So you had a nauseous feeling, and I'm a little stickler on details sometimes. When you said your stomach, you were actually rubbing your chest area rather than your stomach area. So was it really your stomach, or was it higher up?
Well, maybe it was more than that. Maybe it was also a fear. But you're asking what it felt like. The tightening maybe of my whole body kind of felt tight. Maybe that's what I meant. But I felt sick, and then I don't know.
Okay, so there was a tightness and a sense of nauseousness, to roughly a level 6. Am I
7 about
6 or okay, 7 or 8? Okay,
yeah.
So it got up there. All right. So what I want to do here is rather than zero right in on the emotional issue, I want to zero in on the physical issue because the two are linked. And oftentimes we can deal with the physical. And when we deal with the physical and it seems to subside, the emotional level behind it seems to subside as well because they're linked. And that way we have less emotional pain to go through to get this done. Okay? So, but again, our goal here is to take this one specific event. It's like a table leg supporting the bigger tabletop that we might label something's wrong with me. Okay? And so obviously if your father threatens you, wants to destroy your doll. It was a doll, correct?
It's a doll bed.
A doll bed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And threatens to destroy that. A message you would get from that is, oh, I'm bad, or something's wrong with me, or something like that. Okay. Maybe not in that case, but many other cases you would have felt there was something wrong with me. And so what I want to ask you about is, that is the perception of a very young girl. Here you are much older and you look back at it. Is it a proper logical conclusion that because of those events, something really is wrong with you?
No.
No, okay. But your emotional response is otherwise. Okay.
Right.
It's not logical, it's an emotional response. Okay. That's the only thing I wanted to establish, that's all. Okay. Okay, one other thing before we get tapping on that specific event. I want to have you say something for me. And when you say this sentence, get a sense of how true it feels to you. Not how logically true it is. I want to know how emotionally true it is. And so just, here's the sentence. Say it, and then give me your 0 to 10, where 10 is, boy, is that ever true? And 0 is, okay. Here's the sentence. There's something wrong with me.
There's something wrong. I think that's pretty high, 10.
Okay. So, it would appear then that these inputs you've gotten from mother and father as a child gives you the emotional response, there's something wrong with me. And it's illogical. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, it is. It's illogical.
Okay. All right. We may come back to that as this goes on. So what we want to do now is go back to this event. You're sitting in the front seat of the car, and your father makes this threat to you. Give me the words as best you remember them that he said.
I think he hit me first, and then
wait. Where did he hit you?
Just probably flung his arm like he used to do, and just, I don't know where he hit me. I can't remember that.
Okay. All right. Hit you first, and then?
And then yelled and screamed, and he was really scary when he yelled and screamed. And he said, when I get home, oh, you shouldn't be touching my things, and you shouldn't be breaking something that's not yours. And when I get home, I'm going to break your baby doll bed. And then you see how that feels. Or
okay.
Yeah, something like that.
And that's when you got the sort of emotional thud, right?
Yeah, and I felt really close to tears all of a sudden after I finished telling you that. So
just now, okay.
Just really fast.
All right. And did you have the tightness and the nauseous?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So with all that as background, we're going to do some tapping. Okay. Tap with me. Okay. Even though I have this tightness and nauseousness.
Even though I have this tightness and nauseousness.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Deeply and completely accept myself.
This tightness and nauseousness.
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 This tightness and nauseousness.
I usually like to close the fist and just thump at the top of the breastbone, right where a man would nod his tie.
Okay.
That gets both sides. This tightness and nauseousness.
This tightness and nauseousness.
And then this tightness and nauseousness.
Tightness and nauseousness.
Okay. All right. Okay, you just sighed. Did you notice that? Okay.
I actually took a breath.
Well, it's
Used to doing that.
It's
Yeah.
it's a form of a sigh. It's a sign often of some form of emotional relaxation. Okay, it's just kind of a clue as we go along. But so your father said, and I'm going to say these words myself, something like, "When I get home, I'm going to break your baby doll bed, and you'll then know what it's like when somebody breaks something of yours." Okay. What I want to know is, when I said that, what kind of a physical response did you have?
Nothing when you said that.
Okay. Now, me saying it may not have the right trigger. You say it as though you were your father.
Okay. When I get home, I'm going to break your baby doll bed and see how you like it when somebody breaks your things.
Okay. What kind of physical response did you get? Did you get tightness, nauseousness?
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
No, nothing at all for that.
Okay. Now, that could be one of our 1-minute wonders, where we just simply do one round and poof, there it goes. But I'm always suspicious, okay? Especially since you are fairly good at repressing these things and have been doing it for so long, okay? So what I'd like to have you do now is a test of this, is to close your eyes and go through that specific part of the event where he said that, where he was yelling, where he turned around and with his arm hit you. And recreate it, not just like you were just dancing through it. Literally try to get yourself upset. Exaggerate the sounds. Exaggerate, the feelings and the visions and all of that. You're looking for something left over. That's what we're looking for. The minute you get to it, you get worked up. You come out of it. Okay. So go ahead.
Just want me to say anything or just think about it?
You are trying to vividly imagine this, so vivid that you're actually trying to get yourself worked up about it somehow. You're trying to get your nauseousness and your tightness back.
I don't feel anything at all.
Okay. All right. For the moment, I'm going to assume that is a 1-minute wonder, and that specific event, that table leg under the tabletop, has been put to bed. Now, I'm never all that comfortable with the 1-minute wonders, although they certainly happen, and that could be here. Another test for this would be tomorrow morning when you wake up. Some time has gone by. You go through that again and see if any more pieces come up, that get you worked up. If not, chances are that one is out of the picture. It's out of the equation, okay? So let us now go to another table leg under the tabletop, another specific event that would give rise to the idea, to the emotional response of there's something wrong with me. What would that be?
Well, what comes to mind is one of the many times I asked my mother, "Do you love me?" And she said, I asked that a lot. And she said, it's funny how all of a sudden I blanked that out, what she said. Oh, I know now. Okay, yes, but you make it hard. That's what she said.
So you say, "Do you love me?" And she says,
yeah.
And I gather there's a yes in there, but you make it hard. It's like yes.
Yeah, yes, you make it hard.
Yeah. Yes, but you make it hard. Okay. So what's important here is not so much what she said, although we're probably going to pay attention to that. I'm just as interested in not what she said, but what you said to yourself when she said that. What would have been your self-talk? Can you put some words around that?
Well, I was pretty little back then, so when she started, I remember asking her all the time, And when she said that, I wondered to myself, well, how did I make it hard? I didn't do anything. I was a really quiet little girl. I was scared of everything and everybody. And I try to please her all the time. So I really didn't understand why she would say that. Like I wasn't, I wasn't a big troublemaker. I don't know. I guess I knew she didn't love me. I guess that's why I asked her.
Yeah, why else would you ask?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I'm going to have you say something else now, okay? Just to get a sense of this. I'm going to have you say a sentence, and on a scale of 0 to 10, tell me how true it feels. Not how logically true, but how emotionally true it feels. Here's the sentence. I'm not lovable.
I'm not lovable. I believe I am lovable. So I think I'm a 1, maybe a 2.
Okay. That's how you feel today. You have since been married for 35 years.
34 years, yeah.
To a husband that has been very loving to you all this time. So you have lots of input to override the other. Okay. I'm interested now because the way you described that to me was almost like how you're looking at it now. But when you were that little girl and your mother said, well, yes, but you make it very hard. I'm imagining, but correct me, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm imagining a little girl is going to say, but she doesn't really love me. And I maybe at that point, I'm not lovable.
No, you're right. When you start talking about that, I started thinking, when I was a child, I really would have said that was a 10, because I always thought that there was something about me that she couldn't love me.
Yeah. So, and we're back to the general theme of there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you said that this phrase, this question you would ask and this phrase she would use happened with some frequency. We can go ahead and use EFT for that. It's best if we can, if you can remember a specific event, a specific time. We were standing in the kitchen when I was age 7 or something like that. Can you remember a specific time when that happened?
There's a lot of blanks in my childhood. I have to tell you, a lot of them.
Okay. All right.
I can't remember specifically, what was going on or anything when I asked her that.
All right.
Usually when it was just her and I, and I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay. We don't have to do this thing by the book specifically all the time. We do the best we can as we go along here. So just using that alone, in fact, what I'd like to have you do is say again what it is that your mother said to you. Well, yes, but you make it hard. I want you to say that as though you were your mother. And what I want you to look for is, are there any physical responses to that? So go ahead.
Yeah, I would ask her, Mom, do you love me? And she would say, yes, but you make it hard.
Okay. Physical response to that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And to what number?
Probably a 10.
Okay, you're near tears at the moment. You put your hand here. Is there a nauseousness? What's going on here?
I don't know. I don't know if I feel it in my chest, maybe in my chest.
Constriction, tightness.
Yeah, like when you're gonna cry, you feel. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
My chest.
All right. Tap with me. Okay. And here with the words, I'm going to sort of combine the physical with the emotional issue. Okay. And that's just because there's no rhyme or reason. It's just because I feel like doing that at the moment. Okay. All right. So even though I have this, you make it hard tightness,
Even though I have this, you make it hard tightness.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Deeply and completely accept
All right,
myself.
up here. Up here. You make it hard tightness.
You make it hard.
Tightness.
Oh, tightness.
Yeah. You make it hard tightness.
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 Make it hard tightness.
You make it hard tightness.
Make it hard tightness.
You make it hard tightness.
Make it hard tightness.
You make it hard tightness.
Make it hard tightness.
All right, now, say to me as though you were your mother, yes, but you make it hard. Tough to do. Okay, no, that's okay. Got it. What I'd like to know, though, is if you can do it, is if something else came up.
Just that feeling of, just wanting her to love me and not understanding, and just that little girl,
Okay. All right. If you would, Benita, look at me. Can you look at me? I'd like to have you just do some tapping. We're going to take the edge off of this right now. So just tap with me, okay? And I'm going to say a few words, but typically you can just do tapping, okay? And I'm just going to say this overwhelming emotion. I'll say it. You don't need to say it. This overwhelming emotion right here. This overwhelming emotion. 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 Okay, we're down some, but we need some more, okay? Right here. This remaining overwhelming emotion. Up here, remaining emotion. 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 How are we doing now?
A little better, yeah. Wow, yeah, better.
Okay. All right. See this, while we're dealing with one specific event, here in this case, a table leg holding up this tabletop, chances are, and this is just my experience, that this one thing, yeah, but you make it hard, says so much to you as a young girl that it may be what we would call a core issue. It may have so many tentacles and so many things out to so many other specific events and so many other table legs, that what happens is, as we start tuning into that, it brings in other things that maybe we can't identify. But intuitively, are we on target here? Okay. Did anything specific come up? Another specific event as we were going through all of this?
Well, just, at dinner time, if I would ask, just that came up when we were doing that I asked for the biggest meatball, and she gave me the smallest one, because I asked for it. And that kind of came to mind, and a few other ones too. Another one, when we were at somebody's house and we were eating, they had food, and she gave me a really dirty look because I guess I was eating too much, or I don't know, just those looks that she would give me, those disgusted looks that she would give me. That kind of came to mind too.
Okay, I'm going to use a little intuitive hit. I got a little intuitive hit when you said there, but just because I get an intuitive hit doesn't mean we're on the right track, so let me bounce it off of you, okay? You're sitting at the dinner table, eating, okay? Your mother gives you a dirty look. Now, I don't know what a very young Benita is thinking at the time. I'm imagining, this is my intuitive hit, that saying something like, and you need to fill the blank in here because I'm sort of throwing stuff at the target, hoping to hit the bullseye, okay? But I'm imagining you're saying something like, I don't have freedom at the dinner table. There's something wrong with me. If I can eat and eat a lot whenever I darn well please, I can be free of this dirty look. Now, I really made that one up, but is there some of that that is on target?
Yeah, I think so.
What part of that may have rung with you?
What part of that? What was
What
that?
part of what I said may have rung a bell with you?
Well, it made me think of all the times that she gave me a disgusted look, and that was, really made me feel like a pig, like I ate too much and that I was disappointing her, and that it was a big one. I think that disgusted look is a huge one with me,
Okay. Well, that's the kind of thing we get to when we ask a few questions, do a little tapping. Some of this stuff starts to pop up. So, but part of what I said there a few minutes ago had to do with, I didn't use the term, but I'll use it now, sort of a rebellion. That is, mother's not here now. She can't see me. I'm going to eat what I darn well please.
Yes, for sure. I'm very rebellious.
Okay.
Yeah.
And apparently for good reason, because we want freedom from all of these other abusive, I'm going to call them abusive constraints, barriers, fences around us. We all want to fit in. We all want, to be somebody. We all want acknowledgement. We all want love. And when we simply can't get it from the presumably major source in our life, then there's something wrong with us. We're going to do whatever we can to somehow or other tilt that scale so we're okay. And so if we can rebel, well, that's a way to go about it. Now, that's me just talking. The last thing I want to do is have me put my words and stamp them on your system. So tell me where to go with that.
I think that's really good because when I think back at, even when I got married, I was 18 when my husband and I got married, and my mom was really clean, and she cleaned her rooms and made us clean her room, like with the white glove treatment. And I remember after being married, I said, the house was a mess. The apartment was a mess just because she wasn't there to tell me what to do. And so I really think that that's very true for her, that throughout my life, I can just see all these times that I was rebellious about things that she would tell me, and I had to do the opposite later on when I was older. Yeah. And out of the house, of course, I wouldn't do that with her there, but so that makes a lot of sense that would be something that, that I'm being rebellious and thinking, you can't tell me what to do or when to eat or,
And so perhaps subconsciously, one of the motivators for raiding the refrigerator is the rebellious Benita.
Could very well be.
Costing you, perhaps, and is that the only criteria? Oh, well, I don't know, but it's, we're guessing here, and we're trying to use a little reason, and that seems to be someplace.
Yeah, makes sense. It makes sense. I think there's a lot more, of course, but that's definitely something in there because I'm very rebellious, and that makes a lot of sense.
All right. So what I would like to do now is do a little EFT, but it's a little different angle here. This time, rather than collapse a specific event with you, and there are many others. Okay, you've had lots of them. I would rather get to the link between you and your mother in this case, although there will also be a link with you and your father. But let's just take the link with you and your mother, and let's say that disgusted look and that kind of thing, okay? And I'd like to ask you a question. Now that you are decades later, have many more resources than the very, very young girl, why do you think your mother withheld her love from you in the way that she did?
Well, she told me this actually, probably when I was 19 or 20, that she didn't want to be pregnant again. I was her sixth child out of seven, and she didn't want to be pregnant. It was too soon after the last one, and she thought it was going to be a boy, and she really did not like boys. And then I happened to, because the doctor said I was going to be a boy because of my heartbeat, I guess. And then I was a girl, so she was happy about that, and I was a cute, very easygoing baby. She didn't say cute, she said easygoing baby, so, you know, it was pretty good. And then when I got a little older, 2 or 3, I really started to irritate her. That's what she told me.
Okay, so her logic in all of that is, I didn't want to be pregnant. I was pregnant. So as a result of that, I had a child that I really didn't ask for. Okay. I've got enough. Now here I'm sort of guessing on my own, okay? But you fill in the blanks. I've got enough on my plate as it is with all these other children. Now I've got more. And while you're a fairly good baby, you are a baby and you are a child, and you are irritating because, you know, kids can be irritating. That's all there is to it. You know? And so I resent you. Okay, and that's where she's coming from. Okay, do you blame her?
I don't now, no.
Okay.
I understand it.
Okay. Well, you understand it logically.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do blame her for hurting me so much and for making my life so miserable. I do blame her for that because, you know, I don't understand how you can't love your children because I love my children.
Yeah.
So I do, you know, blame her.
Okay, sure.
I understand it kind of with having so many children.
We understand. Yeah, we understand it logically, but what we want to have happen here is that your emotional response lines up with your logical response. Very important. Okay, because logically, oh yeah, mom had her problem. Yeah. And so we can excuse that, we can forgive that, we can understand it now that we're older, but nonetheless, we still get this disgusted look that we remember and how that feels, and that ain't good, okay? So tap with me, we're gonna ramble, we're gonna see what we can do about that, okay? I wanna get a little test on here first though. What would that test be? See, I want you to say something for me and then, you know, give me a 0 to 10 of how true it feels. Say, that disgusted look really bothers me. Say that.
That disgusted look really bothers me.
Okay. Scale of 0 to 10, how true is that?
Probably a 6.
Probably a 6. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to picture her. I can't right now. I can't picture her, that look on her face. That's the problem. I think if I could, I would probably be way higher, but maybe I don't want to picture her face. I don't know.
Well, that could be, but I'm making a little note here. Actually, what I want to do first is I want to do a little tapping aimed at getting you to tune into that disgusted look, okay? Because I think you may be repressing it, okay? And I want to hit it if I can. So tap with me. Say, even though I may be sugarcoating.
Even though I may be sugarcoating.
This disgusted look.
This disgusted look.
Because I really don't want to bring it up.
Because I really don't want to bring it up.
It just doesn't feel good.
It just doesn't feel good.
And I'm a master at repressing.
And I'm a master at repressing.
It just doesn't feel good.
It just doesn't feel good.
This resistance to seeing that look.
This resistance to that disgusted 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 look.
All right. Now, if you would close your eyes, bring up that disgusted look, and tell me how you're doing.
Not very good.
Meaning you're tuning into it. Okay. I'm sorry, to what? You must be a 10. All right, tap with me. Tap with me. This disgusted look. I'll say it. I'll say it. Even though I have this disgusted look, even though I can see this disgusted look, and I know what it means, at least emotionally, not logically, I deeply and completely accept myself. I'm decades later. I know better now, but it still gets to me. Even though chances are my mother was doing the best she knew how at the time. It may have been completely inappropriate. Maybe she had reason for her resentment. I had nothing to do with that. I was just there. I was even actually a good baby as babies go. But nonetheless, it was her response that I'm now paying for because I'm still carrying it around illogically. Okay? Tap the very top of your head. This disgusted look and what it meant to me. And anytime you feel like saying this, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll just keep doing it. This disgusted look and what it meant to me. This disgusted look and what it meant to me.
This disgusted look and what it meant to me.
Okay, under your eyes. This disgusted look and what it meant to me. This disgusted look and what it meant to me. This disgusted look and what it meant to me. This disgusted look and what it meant to me. This disgusted look and what it meant to me. Okay, there's a little sigh, but I want to do another round, okay? This remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me.
Disgusted look and what it meant to me.
This remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me.
Remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me.
This remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me.
Remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me.
This remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me. Keep going.
This remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me. This remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me. This remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me. This remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me. This remaining disgusted look and what it meant to me.
Okay. How are you feeling now?
Better.
Other things coming up?
No.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable with closing your eyes, revisiting that disgusted look, and seeing if we're still at the 10 we were? All right. But take care of yourself. If you go into it and you really start getting to you, I mean, there's no sense just dragging yourself through it, okay? So
it's set a 0. I pictured her face and it wasn't that upsetting. Maybe a 1 or so, but not too bad.
okay. I'm always one for testing. Always, 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 okay? Especially if you're good at repressing, okay? So this time, I'd like to have you do it again. This is something like you did before, but that is go through it, and this time you're literally trying to get yourself worked up, which would mean when you look at your mother's face, which is what you were talking about a minute ago, zero in on her eyes or some part of her face, the way she holds her mouth or something. Exaggerate it. Make it bigger. Make it more glaring. Make any words she would say louder, booming, if you will. Try to take the feelings and exaggerate them, because we're looking for what's left. That's what we're trying to do. We're looking for that. If we leave it on the table, then it's left on the table. Okay, we want to see if we can do something with it. Okay, so go ahead. But if you really get worked up, come out of it. Right?
I can't picture her face at all
Oh,
right now. I can't picture it. I don't know if I'm repressing it like because I do that very well,
uh-huh.
or I just can't see it anymore. I don't know.
Well, that's a very good clue, Benita, that we've EFT'd it pretty well. Now, the one caution I will give you on this is that that particular specific thing, by your words, has happened several times. It was kind of a recurring theme, so to speak, during your life. So, I would have some suspicion that it and anything it's connected to is just vanished. It wouldn't surprise me to learn that the core of it has been reached into and removed. Maybe completely and maybe with everything. We don't know. We don't know until time goes on and we test things and we get up tomorrow morning and you try it again and that kind of stuff. But that's a good clue. Now, what I'd like to have you do now is say for me, and then tell me how true it feels on a scale of 0 to 10, the following sentence. That disgusted look really bothers me.
That disgusted look really bothers me.
All right. Say this for me. The same 0 to 10 evaluation, okay? There's something wrong with me.
There's something wrong with me. I still feel that's true.
Okay, give me is it a 10 true? 9?
No, maybe a 5.
Maybe a 5. I forgot the earlier number, but it was more like a 9-ish, 10-ish.
10, I think it was.
Okay.
I think,
yeah, it was way up there anyway. So it was a really, really true thing. Now it's semi-true. Okay. And that I think I would expect ordinarily. So these are clues that at least for this session, at least as things are going on now, we are collapsing stuff. Okay. How well we're collapsing them, how permanently, and this kind of thing, more time has to go on to find that out. Okay. Okay, so we did something with the link between you and your mother and the disgusted look. Would there be a similar thing between you and your father?
No, I think with my father, it was just he ignored us, and then, or he'd get really mad unless something happened, and then he'd get really mad, and then he would just have these huge eyes, like his eyes would just open up really wide like that, and then he would shake because he would get so mad, and he would spit when he was yelling, and so it was a different type of thing. Like, otherwise, he just ignored us. Yeah.
Well.
And sorry. I was just going to say that I did think of something else when we were doing it just a second ago. I thought about the time I told my mother that my father was touching me, and she said, "Oh, I'm sure you're just dreaming about that. I'm sure they're just dreams." Anyway, that's just something that came to mind a little while ago. I just thought I'd tell you that one. I don't know.
That's touching you in a sexually inappropriate way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and she didn't believe me, and I was maybe 12, 13, and she said, "Oh, you must have just been dreaming about it, or dreaming that, or something."
Okay. But
anyway, that just came to mind.
But you know it wasn't a dream.
No, I know it wasn't a dream.
Okay. Exactly. So, as I hear what you're saying, and again, I'm using my intuition, so you have to bounce this stuff back at me and tell me what's right or wrong, okay? What's on target or not. One is he's ignoring you. If I am young you, I am saying that's another form of he doesn't love me, there's something wrong with me. Otherwise, why would he ignore me? Okay.
Exactly.
Then I'm imagining these wide eyes, the yelling, the spitting, and all of that is an anger. And if I'm a young girl, I'm saying, I'm saying that's aimed at me. As someone older with more resources, I may say, he's the one with the problem. He is angry inside and he is blasting it out, projecting it at someone who cannot defend themselves inappropriately, a really very young girl. Okay. Now, how am I doing on all that?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Okay. We know that now looking back. This is the logical part of it. Logically, there is no reason to take that kind of input logically and say something's wrong with me. The logical thing is something's wrong with him. He is someone who needs forgiveness. He is someone who needs help. He is someone who has anger from inside, a lot of unresolved stuff that he's got to throw out to the rest of the world. And I, little Benita, am in the way.
Sure.
You're nodding your head. How close to the bullseye am I?
Right on.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah, he was a very angry person, and he took it out on all of us. He was unhappy, and
Okay. Am I correct? Am I correct that when you were describing that, I mean, I'm getting the ideas that just like your mother may have had a disgusted look that sort of typifies what's going on, would your father's wide eyes do the same thing? Or would you pick some other gesture?
No, I think with my mother, it was more, with a disgusted look. What did I do? I had all these feelings. What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? But with my dad, it was, I don't know if I felt really what's wrong with me. I just felt this intense fear, because when he would get like that, he would physically hit us too. And it wasn't, I never felt that there was something wrong with me with him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was more, I don't know how to explain it.
Well, you actually echoed that on the very first specific event, sitting in front of the car and he threatening to destroy, the baby doll bed. Okay. So, but you had a bunch of fear from him.
Yes.
So my guess is that fear, which is what you label the emotion, contributes to the anxiety you feel today that helps motivate you towards raiding the refrigerator.
Huh. Can you say that one more time just so I can really sink in?
Okay. We started this whole thing out with the idea that we have unresolved emotions. You figure from childhood that would be typical, which causes this unrest that you want to tranquilize by using your drug of choice, in this case, food. Okay. So we're looking at some issues with mother, childhood, something's wrong with me. We're looking at father as not necessarily something's wrong with me, but there's a big fear thing,
right,
which you carry around. Let's do a little psycho speak and call it subconsciously. Okay. It's still in there someplace, illogical. He's not even here. Okay. But nonetheless, there's some fear involved. Okay. And so what we want to do is collapse as best we can that fear. Okay. So I'm back to specific events now. Give me a specific event that you can recall where your father had some behavior and you, whoa, really fearful, other than the one about the front seat of the car.
Well, he chased me around in the house once because he was going to hit me. And then I ran downstairs and he hit me with a clothes hanger, and I had bruises on my back. That was one incident. All
right, let's stop there. As you say that, you get emotional intensity, or did you repress that one?
I must repress it because I didn't feel anything. I just like telling you the facts.
Okay. All right. If we may, Anita, unless you think there's another one that is more intense than that one, I would like to.
The other one came to mind was the time I was eating my ice cream, and I guess I was eating it too slowly because I was eating it with a little spoon, because I like to stir it up and make it kind of soft, and then eat it with a little spoon and make it last, I guess. And he told me I was taking too long, and he hit me on the head with a big soup spoon, one of those stainless steel soup spoons, and it dented the spoon actually. But yeah, that one's pretty bad too. I don't know which one's worse.
All right, let's just take that last one. As you were telling it, did you get any emotional spike?
No.
Close your eyes, go through that, and in this case, zero in on the exact moment when that spoon hit your head and feel what you felt then, and tell me if you get an emotional spike.
Yeah, I felt fear. I just, I don't know if I felt it in my body, but I did feel fear. That's it.
Okay. But I'm not hearing a big spike. I'm not hearing you near tears. I'm not the kind of thing. You don't have to go there. You don't have to go there. I'm just telling you what I observed. So maybe what we've done with our tapping is we've taken off so much of the edge of things that you're having at the moment a hard time getting into things. That happens oftentimes in these sessions. Let a day go by, have another session, that kind of thing. These things get a little more exaggerated, okay? But what I'd like to do with a little time remaining here is zero in on one of those specific events. Do something with that table leg, if you will, and let you choose which of those you think might be more on point.
I think the hanger one is more, so I remember it better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So your father chases you around the house. You are fearful. You're running away from. How old are you?
Maybe 10.
Okay, you're maybe 10 years old. Your father's bigger than you. I gather he's yelling. He's furious. I got this right?
Yeah.
He's got a hanger in his hand.
Well, he chases me down the stairs, and I go into my room, and he picks up first he pushes me to the ground, and then he picks up a hanger, and he hit me quite a few times with the hanger. So
how many times?
Maybe half a dozen times.
And he bruises you. Okay. Now I saw a little emotion in your eyes.
Yeah, I felt it when you said bruises you.
Okay. So here we've got at least a clue, an inroad, a little word anyway, okay? Did you feel anything physically when I said that?
I felt teary-eyed again. I think I don't know. I don't know. I can't really think of it in my body where I feel it. I just feel it all of a sudden, and I don't know.
Doesn't have to be. If we have them, fine. We can do something with it, physical stuff. If not, we'll carry on. So what I want to do here now is go to that specific event, but I'm going to zero in on the term bruise because that's sort of like our little doorway into it, okay? So tap with me. Even though, what did you call your father? Dad, daddy, father, what?
My dad, I think.
All right.
I talk about him, I'd say my father, but when I talk to him, I think I said dad.
Should we use father or dad in what we're doing?
They're both hard to hear for him. How about, I don't want to say his name, but I don't really want to say dad or father. They seem too personal.
Well, all right, let's just say he.
Well, that's not a right word. Too loving of a word. You know what I mean? Like you would say that to someone you love.
All right.
I don't know.
All right, we'll just use the term he, him, that kind of thing.
That would be better, yeah.
Okay, all right, good. I'm glad I asked, okay. Even though he bruised me.
No, he bruised me.
And I was only 10 years old.
I was only 10 years old.
A furious man. Okay, I'll say it. unless you want to, okay? A furious man who was acting out of his own unresolved fury, his own unrest. He was furious, and what could a 10-year-old girl really do to make anyone that furious, unless that fury was really coming from some other place? I may have been the trigger, but I wasn't the gun. I wasn't the cause. All right, tap right up here. He bruised me.
He bruised me.
He bruised me. He bruised me.
Bruised.
He bruised me.
Bruised.
He bruised me. Keep going.
Bruised me. He bruised me. Bruised. He bruised me.
Okay, there was a little sigh there at the end, okay? Let's do another round. Even though I still have some of this he bruised me emotion,
Even though I still have some of this he bruised me emotion,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
And I forgive myself
And I forgive myself
for any contribution I may have made to this problem,
any contribution I may have made to this problem,
because I was only 10 years old
because I was only 10 years old
and doing the best I could.
and doing the best I could.
And I forgive him
And I forgive him
for any contribution he may have made to this problem,
any contribution he made with this problem,
because in reality,
because in reality,
he too was doing the best he could.
he too was doing the best he could.
It may have been inappropriate
It may have been inappropriate
and even inexcusable,
and even inexcusable,
but he was coming from his own beliefs,
but he was coming from his own beliefs,
his own experiences,
experiences,
his own conditioning,
his own conditioning,
albeit completely inappropriate.
albeit completely inappropriate.
He may have been doing the best he could.
He may have been doing the best that he could,
All things considered.
all things considered.
That doesn't excuse it,
Doesn't excuse him,
but it does allow me to maybe understand it.
but it does allow me to maybe understand it.
Okay. Tap up here. The remaining he bruised me emotion.
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 All right, keep going.
The remaining he bruised me emotion. 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 The remaining he bruised me emotion.
How you doing now?
Better.
Does it seem reasonable to you to go ahead and vividly imagine this as a test? I mean, you feel comfortable enough doing that, looking for things aspects to this that haven't shown up yet. Okay? So go ahead, exaggerate everything. And not just the bruising and the hitting with the hanger, but the chasing around the house, going down the stairs, exaggerate everything. Try to find something that's working you up, and let me know what happens.
I'll tell you, right when you said that, something really came up.
Okay.
Chasing after me. If anybody chases after me, even for fun, I just fall apart. I fall on the ground, and my kids know not to scare me ever, like to jump out from behind me. I just can't take it, you know? Anyway, that just came to mind when you were talking about the running after. That's a big one.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for putting that out there. And for those listening in who may be in the healing professions, what you've just talked about is another aspect. So far we found two aspects. One is he bruised you. That happened to be our doorway in, okay? And now once we get in there and we start looking around, we're now finding another aspect which is important. That is him chasing you still shows up nowadays. Anybody chasing you, even if for fun, I gather,
Yeah.
you get an emotional, not logical, an emotional response that goes, whoa, okay? This also adds to the anxiety that you feel that needs to be addressed so you don't have to tranquilize it any longer with food. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to do a little more EFT on this other piece of it, him chasing you. Okay. Now zero in on that and see if we can't get really, really specific with that. Like you were going down the stairs, or you thought of something, or you tripped someplace, or you felt helpless, or there must be some piece in there that kind of just stands out.
You know, just knowing that he's going to catch me, you know, that I can't run away forever, that he's going to catch me. Okay. Just hearing him run behind me and know that, you know, that he's going to catch me.
Okay. And if he does, you're in for it. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. And that's the fear aspect that we were talking about before. Okay. As you talk about that, as you bring that up, do you feel anything physically?
No.
Okay. Say this for me with emphasis, and what I want to know is what kind of an emotional response you get on a 0 to 10 level. Okay. He's going to catch me, and I'm really afraid.
He's going to catch me, and I'm really afraid.
Okay. What number do you get to when you say that?
Probably an 8.
Probably an 8. Okay. With me. Even though he's going to catch me.
Even though he's going to catch me.
And I'm really afraid.
And I'm really afraid.
I've been here before.
I've been here before.
True? Yeah.
True.
And it's going to happen again.
And it's going to happen again.
I am big time fearful.
I am big time fearful.
For very good reason.
For very good reason.
He may be out of control.
He may be out of control.
And I'm really on the short end of the stick here.
I'm really on the short end of the stick here.
And I am helpless.
And I am helpless.
Was that an appropriate word?
That word is really hard.
Okay. Okay, we're going to keep that in there. Okay. I am helpless. Okay. All right. Tap up here.
Sorry. You know, that's something I do not cry easily.
It's okay.
I hardly ever cry. I hate crying. Anyway, okay.
My guess is there's some penalty for crying. Or at least there was. Okay. Well, actually, Bonita, it's a good sign that you're crying, because we're getting below the surface. See, you can tap on these surface things all day long and get little results here and there. That's one of the problems with what I call surface EFT or internet EFT, or whatever you want to call it, you know. But until you get down beneath it for a lot of these issues, you're really not going to take it home, okay? So the idea, yes, we have fear. He's going to catch me and you're in for it. But helpless now seems to be the key word, okay? And it's true, you were helpless at the time. He's much bigger than you. You know you're in for it, okay? And there's nothing you can do about it. You're a small girl. He's a big man. He's also your father. He's got authority. He can take your food away if he wants to, whatever, okay? All right. And I'm gonna assume the helplessness is a 10.
For sure.
Okay. Even though I felt so helpless.
Even though I felt so helpless.
For such logical reasons.
For such logical reasons.
I was only 10.
Totally 10.
I was only 10.
Oh, I was only 10.
Okay. And I, of course, was helpless.
And I, of course, was helpless.
What could I do?
What could I do?
I was helpless then.
I was helpless then.
But I'm not helpless now.
But I'm not helpless now.
All right, let's stop one moment.
I was going to say, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that. You believe you are. No. You believe you are helpless now.
I am.
Okay, expand on that. Tell me why you are helpless now.
Well, I have a lot of fears, naturally, about everything, really. And The world scares me. Everything about it is scary. So I feel totally helpless in this world. Really.
Okay. So now we have, in EFT terms, located what I'm going to call a tabletop. The tabletop is I am helpless. Okay. The other one was there's something wrong with me. But this one is now I am helpless. And so we are now zeroing in on a table leg. That is your father chasing you. You're helpless and he's going to hit you or is hitting you with this hanger. Okay. So that's going to be one table leg under the other table. I am helpless. See, if you go through life thinking I am helpless and everything tends to scare you, would that not cause an emotional unrest that you need to tranquilize with food? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, now, logically, are you really any more helpless than anybody else?
Than anybody else?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, not than anybody else.
Okay. In a way, we are all helpless because we're all going to get older, wrinkle up, and die. Okay. We are all subject to somebody coming into a restaurant when we're sitting out with a machine gun. Okay. We are all helpless when it comes to disease. We are all helpless when it comes to somebody else stealing your money or competing with you business-wise in ways that might affect you. We are all helpless in what other people may do to insult you, or there's all these things going on. We are all helpless to that to a degree. We cannot control. We can influence this and influence that and so on. But are we not all helpless along everything? Okay. Yes. I'm going to do a little tapping on that. And the reason I want to do the tapping on that is because this kind of a thing is like a reframe. It's a sort of a cognitive shift, a belief change, and these things land better while we're tapping. So with me, if you will. Even though I feel so helpless.
Even though I feel so helpless.
And there's good reason for that.
There's a reason for that.
Because everybody is helpless.
Because everyone is helpless.
To one degree or another.
One degree or another.
And I'm not really, logically, any more helpless than anybody else.
I'm not really logically any more helpless than anyone else.
Okay. Is that a true statement?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I didn't buy that totally, by the way. I think emotionally, what? I didn't buy that totally, by the way. Emotionally, I think you're not done with it. But we're talking about, this is a logical level right now. Logically, you are no more helpless than anybody else. I don't know if it works about, but logically, is that true?
Yes.
Okay. So even though logically, I am no more helpless than anybody else.
I am no more helpless than anyone else.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I
deeply and completely
accept myself.
Okay. I am no helpless than anybody else.
I am no more helpless than anybody else.
I am no more helpless than anyone 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 else.
Keep going.
I am no more helpless than anyone else. 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 I am no more helpless than anyone else.
Okay. All right, say this for me and give me your 0 to 10 assessment of how true it is, okay? I am helpless.
I am helpless. Maybe a 2?
Maybe a 2. Okay. Now, let's go. That's sort of a broad kind of thing, okay? I want to get back down to the specifics, okay? Tap with me. Even though I felt so helpless.
Even though I felt so helpless.
Running down those stairs.
Running down those stairs.
Trying to get away from a furious father.
Trying to get away from a furious father.
Who was projecting all his anger.
Who was projecting all his anger.
On me.
On me.
And I'm about to be in for it.
And I'm about to be in for it.
And in this case, I'm helpless.
And in this case, I'm helpless.
Truly helpless.
Truly helpless.
And there's nothing I can do about it.
And there's nothing I can do about it.
I understand this better now than I could then.
I understand this better now than I could then.
Okay. This helpless feeling at age 10.
This helpless feeling at age 10.
Age 10, helpless feeling.
Age 10, helpless feeling.
Keep going.
Age 10, helpless feeling. Age 10, helpless feeling. Age 10, helpless feeling. Age 10, helpless feeling. Helpless feeling at age 10. Age 10, helpless feeling.
Okay. All right, now if you would, well, you can complete your sigh if you want to. Now, if you will, close your eyes, go through that whole scene, not only the chasing the and feeling helpless, but the latter part where you were getting bruised, and tell me if you can find something in there that is bothersome.
I can't feel anything right now.
Okay. That could be because we've really collapsed that one specific event. Wouldn't surprise me. There may be little pieces left over. You go through that tomorrow morning, you may little something here and there, but chances are that particular one isn't going to bother you. If it does, then we need to go back and go over again. But the odds are really good that particular table leg, probably we've done something worthwhile with that. Okay. Don't know till time goes on. All right. Say this for me. Say there's something wrong with me.
There's something wrong with me.
How does that feel?
I don't feel anything.
Okay. Say I'm helpless.
I'm helpless. I still feel something there.
Give me a number.
What was that? Give you a number?
Yeah.
Oh, 3?
A 3.
4?
3, 4.
3 or 4?
Okay. All right. So there's more to do there. We're not going to be able to do everything in this session. In fact, we're at a point now where I've probably exhausted you a little bit. And I have found if we go on too long, everything just sort of collapses because your whole system is so tapped on and so normalized that we even have trouble finding issues. So it's probably time to draw the curtain here. But what I want to point out is we got down to specifics, very important term. Got below the level, we got tears, which hardly ever come. Instead of repressing things, we got down to them. And so we've done some collapsing here. Does this mean that from this point forward, you're going to stop raiding the refrigerator? Not necessarily. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll improve it. Maybe it won't. And the reason it wouldn't, if it doesn't, would be we've got more to go. There are more specific events. There are more reasons why we are carrying around ongoing anxiety that needs to be tranquilized. So the grazing on the food isn't really the problem. The grazing on the food is the symptom of the problem because it means we still have the emotional unrest that we need to tranquilize. So if you're still doing that, I wouldn't beat yourself up about it. Just go do it. That's what you want to do. Do it. I mean, it's a way to make yourself feel better, and so be it. But it's also a clue. Let's get down to these specific events, and there's very good tutelage on that on our tutorial. Okay, Benita, we're about 15 or 20 hours now since we last talked. We did our session. The night has gone by. And now we're in your morning, my morning as well. So what I want to do is do a little testing of the specific events that we dealt with. Okay. So I've got some notes here. If you would close your eyes and go through mentally this specific event with you in the front seat of your father's car and him yelling, etc., and saying he was going to break your baby doll bed. Go ahead, close your eyes, go through that, try to get yourself upset. I mean, do it vividly, and tell me if you have any remnants left or what happens.
Okay, on the before he said anything, like before he got really mad, he hit me.
Uh-huh.
That kind of upset me just now thinking about that part. That you know, he just swung back as I was in the back seat, and he just hit me over the, you know, on the side of the head, I guess. Yeah, so that kind of upset me because that happened a lot, that he would hit me, but that's kind of what came up that upset me. His eyes getting big upset me a little bit too, but not really high. Maybe you know, a 2 for the eyes and maybe a 4 for him hitting me.
Well, interestingly enough, if I recall this correctly, when we dealt with that specific event yesterday, while you mentioned the fact that he hit you, and I remember you talking about his eyes getting large, but I think that was actually on a different event. That's not what we worked on. We worked on your feeling of not being loved, if I recall that correctly. Your sense was, do I remember it right? I mean, that wasn't our focus. Our focus was on not being loved, or your emotional reaction to what that meant to you. Am I correct?
Yeah, trying to remember that the first one we talked about, that was the first one. Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, so now here's what's interesting. We did this yesterday. When we go to test it today, what we actually worked on didn't come up for you. Okay, in the test.
Oh, yes, that's okay. True.
That's a solid clue that what we worked on was successful. Okay, what we didn't work on, that is the hitting, you know, and the eyes, are still there. We didn't work on that part because it wasn't coming up in our conversation.
You're right. I didn't remember that.
Okay, so important to recognize those are now aspects of it that were undone in the first go-round. That's not good, bad, or otherwise. It's just feedback, and it lets us know there's more to do. Okay, and this is an important, actually, a teaching point for me, because there's a lot of people, they somehow get the notion that EFT is supposed to be a whole series of just 1-minute wonders. Okay, tap, 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 everything you ever had to do is just gone. And they get that from the idea that we can often take a specific event, and in 1 or 2 rounds, it never bothers anybody. Yours has more aspects, so there's more to it, okay? Or we could do somebody with a height phobia and tap, 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 and they go to the top of a building and they never have that phobic response again, etc. So that's important to recognize. So we have untreated aspects, if you will. Okay, now the next one that I have here on my notes was when your father was chasing you around the house. Okay, you felt helpless. He eventually hit you, bruised you was the key word, with a hanger. Okay, would you go through that one and tell me what comes up?
That one, I thought through the whole thing, and nothing really came up for that one.
Okay, now Yesterday, that was a big timer for you. Okay. Um, and as I recall it, we worked first on the bruise part. The word bruise really got to you. And so we did tap, tap, tap on the bruise part of it, the hanger, and so on. And then, if I recall it, another aspect showed up, that is the helpless feeling, and so on. Now, as you go through it, you're not finding either one of those.
I didn't think of the helpless word. Let me just think about that one. Yeah, the helpless, that still comes up a bit. Maybe a 3 or 4, just the word itself, but the bruise, that doesn't really affect me at all.
Well, okay, let me draw a distinction here. To me, the term helpless is more of a tabletop, a more global type thing. And the word helpless, I would expect, would still be an issue for you, because we only dealt with one specific event having to do with that. But if you can draw this distinction, it would be helpful. Go through your father chasing you down the stairs, etc., and the helpless feeling you felt then at that time in that specific instance, not the overall feeling of helpless, but that specific instance. Go through that and tell me what happens.
Nothing's really, I mean, I know I felt helpless then, but it's not really it's not feeling really at that time.
Okay.
I'm not feeling anything about that.
Okay, that points to solid success on that particular table leg under the tabletop. Okay. And that's really important. Now, there's one other little bit of testing I want to do with you, and that was we did a little bit with your mother and this disgusted look. Okay, if you would bring up that disgusted look and tell me what happens.
Yeah, I can still see that look on her face, and it still does bring up some, because there's so many more times that she did that. So yes. I guess, it's pretty, it was a pretty common look for her to give me. So it's still definitely there.
Okay. Very good feedback. Thank you. That's very helpful to a lot of people, because as you recall, when we dealt with that, I asked you if you could zero in on a specific time when she did that. You had a hard time with that. So we just went with the look, okay? Now, I knew that look had happened a bazillion times. And so I didn't really expect we would just collapse that with one or two rounds for all time. We certainly did something with it at the moment. But what we do is we tend to take the edge off. Time goes by. We start going through it again, and now here it comes again. Maybe not in the red, white, and blue, explosive way that it was to begin with, but it's still there. Am I speaking correctly?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So there's more to do on that one. The fact that it's only a 3 or 4 now, I mean, typically it was 8 or 9 or 10, was it not?
Okay. I think it was a 10, that one, yeah.
Okay, so now here we are sometime later. You go through it and you get, 3 or 4. Now maybe you're repressing some and so on, so we don't know that specifically. In fact, let's test that right now. Go through it again and exaggerate it. Make the eyes bigger and the facial features more intense and so on, and see if you can't get above a 3 or 4.
Oh, maybe the highest of 5, but...
Okay. All right. Now, some people will look at that and say, oh, it didn't really work. but to do that, and I'm teaching here, okay, to say that is missing the point. The point is this is a more generalized type thing. It happened a lot. We didn't get down to a specific time. But even at that, we took a big piece of it out. You can't get above a 5, try as you may. Okay? So there's more work to do, but we had substantial headway just in what little piece of time we did with that, okay? So to summarize then, we've made some headway, some solid headway on the disgusted look, if you will, although more to do, obviously. The 2 specific events that we worked with, one of them seems to be completely gone as far as a table leg is concerned. That's the one with your father chasing you and the bruising and that. The other one, you know, we have the eyes, the one in the car. What we worked on doesn't seem to be a problem. What we didn't work on, the eyes and the hitting, does seem to be a problem. We didn't work on it. So that's more pieces of it. So one of the things here that's really necessary to understand, and this is not only for you but for all those listening in, is that EFT is not designed to be a 1-minute wonder with something like overeating or weight loss. It isn't like a now you see it, now you don't. You know, do a couple of rounds of EFT, and all of a sudden the weight leaves. Okay, that's not so, because the overeating that goes on is actually a symptom of the real cause. The real cause is these various emotional issues that we all collect over a lifetime. You know, the insecurities, and in your case, the helpless feeling, and what was the other phrase? I wrote this down here. There's something wrong with me, okay? And so those come about from these specific events. So it's not like we just go down to 1 or 2 or 3 specific events, of which there are a bazillion of them, and all of a sudden everything just melts away. No. EFT is very efficient at getting down to those specific events, knocking out the table legs, but you've got to knock them out one by one. Now, in your case, you have an almost endless number of specific events from your mother and father that give rise to this helpless feeling, and so on. Okay, and so we've gotten a start here, is what we got. So one of the nice things here is this generalization effect. We can do as we've done with you. Get down to some specific events, do something very worthwhile with them in a fairly short period of time. I mean, what we did with those specific events with conventional therapy takes weeks, months, or years if you can do anything. Okay, and we did it in a very short period of time. But we only got a table leg or 2 out from underneath this tabletop. You have an endless number of these experiences from mother and father, you know, in a very impressionable time, you know, your younger years. The beauty of this is that EFT has something within it called a generalization effect. Since these very specific events have commonalities in them, similar people, similar experiences, you know, similar things that happen, as you take care of not hundreds of specific events, but take care of 5, 10, 15, 20, something like that, you're actually it tends to generalize because of this commonality, and you actually collapse all of them if you do these smaller number and do them very well. And so that's what I would expect after you've done 15 or 20 of these really, really well. Then you're going to be less enticed to go to that refrigerator. And then the weight will start coming up. But see, we have more to do. All right? I don't see a big smile on your face for that.
Seems like a lot of things, a lot of time.
Listen, 15 or 20 of them? How long did it take us to do 2 or 3?
That's true. Not very long.
Okay. So you know, get at these in this more sophisticated way, and then see what happens. And we just got started. Okay. We also had a specific event having to do with your mother, and you as a young girl asking your mother words to the effect, "Do you love me?" And she said, "Yes, but it's hard to do."
You make it hard.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
but you make it hard. What
Yeah.
I'd like to have you do, if you would be to close your eyes and run that movie and tell me what number you get to now, okay?
I think about a 5.
Oh, you bought a 5. Okay, now yesterday I think we got down to 0, did we not?
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, so as you were running this movie, um, uh, what showed up in this movie that caused the 5?
I think maybe that disgusted look again. I kind of saw that on her face when I asked her, like, are you asking me this again? And I just, kind of felt that sadness that I felt when I was a little kid, just,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so that's a piece that's left undone so far. Okay, so that's why we checked this thing the next day. You were a much higher level to begin with yesterday, 8,
Yeah.
9, 10, something like that, as I recall.
10, I think. I was pretty high.
Okay, and
Yeah.
so now here we are the next day. So other little pieces come up. Now, memory may not be serving me as well as it might, but wasn't the disgusted look thing that we did separate and apart from this particular specific event?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Okay, yes, I remember that now, because you couldn't find a specific event that had to do with the disgusted look.
No, I did find a couple. Remember, one was at a party and I was eating too much.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then the other one was at the dinner table when I asked for the biggest meatball and she gave me the smallest one.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Yes, and those had disgusted look attached to them. Okay. All right. So our disgusted look, we got better on that. But now as we get back into this specific event where disgusted look wasn't the centerpiece of what we were doing.
Right.
Okay. You now go back into it and your emotional response to it's now a 5 instead of a 0 because you tuned into the disgusted look.
Yeah, I think that, and also I just felt really sad. So I don't know. It was the disgusted look I saw first. Maybe that's what made me sad. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Hard to know, but the clue is the disgusted look needs more work, and since you now have several specific events, you can now bring up that focus in on the disgust, or can focus in on the disgusted look. Do those one at a time, and after a while, this disgusted look will get from a 5 to a 4 to a 3 to a 2 to who cares, and that's what we want, because that's a big fat table leg underneath the tabletop.
I believe that. I thought about that, and I talked to my husband about it too, and he said that's a big one. He thought that was a really big one because it affects me now. If somebody looks at me in that way, I fall apart, basically, if somebody gives me that look.
All right, and there for you is a great big healing clue, because when somebody gives you, my guess is any form of a disgusted look. In fact, my guess would be any form of a look that you might interpret as a disgusted look, even though they may not be meaning it that way. As soon as you see one of those, well, that's a time to run off into the bathroom, go into the closet someplace, excuse yourself, or if you can, it's at a party, as soon as you can, go back to that particular person's disgusted look, tap, 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 because it's bringing up something from our yesterday. So that's a big clue. That could even be one of these big core issues, such a fat table leg is a core issue, so.
I think so too.
Okay, anyway, good. Thank you, Benita. Onward and upward.